G'day legends, g'day superstars, it's over. Season 2022 is finally over for 10 teams, including Jamie's, and it all gets covered in our round 23 AFL review. It's Peps, it's J-Dog, it's Lace Out, and it's how you want your footy. Big fella. Great to have you back.
Thank you.
The season has ended for you, and we'll get into that in a little bit of time. But so many talking points.
Yes.
In a week of football, so much has happened.
Yep.
On and off the field. We're covering it all tonight. Who would have thought it was the perfect weekend to have a bye, because we are still chock-a-blocker with everything that happened over the round.
It was, and I'm not going to get into it, but we have all witnessed one of the greatest AFL games of football ever in our history of our great game.
And we are going to get into it. If you're joining us for the first time, you know what? You've tuned in at the right time, because I made a prediction earlier on in the season and I got it completely wrong. And I'm going to go through that very, very shortly. But who am I? I'm Christopher Pepper, the 377-game superstar of the East Keilor Football Club. Co-host with the most. He's the Jamie, the J-Dog Wallis. Did you know he was ranked number 9 for his age group in Ironman worldwide many, many moons ago? An all-round good bloke. We're here to talk about the single greatest game, which is AFL football, and you want it, lace out, because it's how you want your footy. It was a cracking weekend of football. I've got to ask you, as always, your weekend, for everybody who didn't know, it was J-Dog's birthday. So for you, my friend, I've got something special for you. It's the entire team, all the community at Lace Out want to sing you happy birthday. So here we go. 1, 2, 3.
No love. No love.
Oh, yeah, no love for you. But there might be a bit of love for you on the chat. Everybody's joining us on the chat tonight. Thank you very much, because without you, we don't have a show. And there's going to be plenty of things. That chat is going to be smoking tonight. Can't wait to hear from St Kilda supporters. Can't wait to hear from Carlton and Essendon supporters. And everybody else who didn't make the top 8 this year. Mind you, weekend-wise, we always have a bit of a recap on it. How was yours, besides the birthday wishes? I did ring you, and you were in the fish and chip shop, you were telling me.
Yes. It was very good. My weekend was excellent. I didn't get up to much. It was pretty ordinary weather over the weekend. I sat in my cycling clothes from 5 a.m. on Saturday till about 7:30, looking for a gap in the rain, and it just didn't come.
Mate, no. As soon as you hear one bead, it's not good. You can't ride when it's in the wet, J-Dog. It's not for competition points. It's not football. Don't worry about it, my friend. Just park it, grab yourself a beverage, sit on the couch and say, I've earned it this weekend. I had earned it. There's always tomorrow.
And Sunday was my birthday, and the wife and the kids all looked after me. My mum came down as well to visit, so that was always lovely.
Oh, well, you deserve it. 38. I know you don't look 38.
Thank you.
Close to 45, but 38. If you haven't seen J-Dog, just picture Jaden Stevenson, but instead of blonde hair, it's brown and receding, and you'd be pretty much on the mark there.
And we both can't get a game out of AFL, so we're the same.
Exactly right. I went to a concert with my son. First ever concert Friday night. I went and saw a band called AJR. Don't know if you know, if anyone's heard of them before. Went and had a look at them. Yep. I reckon the average age would have been about maybe 16 to around about 22.
Interesting songs, Peps.
Very interesting songs. It's like tech emo head. I don't know. He reckons it was the best night of his life. And I tried to explain to him, mate, that's how I felt when Melbourne won the flag last year. That's how I felt.
The illegitimate flag, yep.
The illegitimate flag, exactly right. But I'm still taking the flag. But it was a great night. He had a ball. Like I said, I just watched some great footy on the weekend. Local footy started to kick off. That's the best part about it. It's not just what's happening with the big guys. So everybody who's playing local footy finals, local netball finals, whatever finals that you're playing, good luck to you, because you deserve, after a hard season, to get some success towards the back end of the year. Mate, it is going absolutely nutski on the chatski right now, ski. you know what? Everybody's back. Donna J's back. Good evening to you, Jay. Good to see you in. Roo Boy, he's
he'll be
already
up and
thrown out
about.
some big statements already. We'll have to hear from him what he's thinking about having Al Clarkson at the club. I don't know if he's come down from Cloud 9. Robbie Smith's asking us, are we taking the Pies seriously yet? I've got my opinion on them very, very shortly. The Fang, the Gap, Lee Ali is here as well, so he's saying hello. David Salt, he's feeling a bit sour after what happened to Carlton on the weekend, but you know what? We've got everybody. I think, J-Dog, for the last time this year, I think it's our opportunity to go and have a look at the ladder, see how everything finished up for the season.
Let's do it.
And I've got a massive prediction. I think, J-Dog, the final 8 will not change from this point on.
It's only taken you all of this. You've made big calls from round 5 about...
I've made some big calls. Richmond were not going to play finals, and at one stage they didn't like they would, and they came home with their sails wet.
You locked in Carlton, you locked in St Kilda, you locked them all in very early.
Well, I think they locked themselves in based on some of the results as well too. But let's go through the ladder. Let's go through the top 8. We know Geelong, they won the McClellan Trophy by finishing first on the AFL ladder, 144%, 72 points. 2 games clear of the Melbourne Football Club and the Sydney Swans, and also Collingwood. When was the last time you saw 3 teams finishing on the same amount of points, second, third, or fourth, and it came down to percentage?
Incredible season.
Fremantle scraped in for 5th. They were absolutely blown away by what happened to them. They've come in and got themselves a home final against the Western Bulldogs. That's another story for what we're going to get into. Brisbane Lions, they had an absolute stinker against the D's. Richmond just kept on doing what they've been doing and practically beating nobody. And the Western Bulldogs, after Carlton fell away, after Brisbane fell away, after St Kilda fell away, they snuck in. They were even on the cams. I don't know if you saw the footage of that, J-Dog. They were even on the Great Northerns celebrating the end of season, and to see what happened, and we all know what happened, who slotted into 9th position. It was Carlton. They only had to win 1 out of the last 4 games, and they stunk it up. Now, they've missed the 8 by 0.6%. Now, that's the closest margin since the D's missed it.
Oh, yeah, that was good.
2017, I think it was.
Yeah, I remember that game, Peps. A great game. It
0.5%.
was a great game because you guys effectively lost to a Collingwood thirds team to slip out of the 8, and that was one of the greatest days of my life.
I know it was. And your mob who made a prelim last year are in 11th. Same with Gold Coast, best result for a season ever, which is really not much to say considering what they did over the last month. Hawthorn on 32, Adelaide on 32, Essendon Tank on 28, GWS on 24, and then a massive gap to West Coast and North Melbourne. North Melbourne get the number 1 draft pick, so do West Coast. North Melbourne ended up with 2 wins and 55%. That's the lowest, I think, since Melbourne in 2012 when they finished off with 8 points, and I think it was 52%. So you think North were going bad, Melbourne were 10 times worse as that as well too. Quick question for you, J-Dog, and I want to throw this one out to you. 10 clubs have had their season finish on the week. And when you look at the bottom 9, out of all of those teams, which one was the biggest loser out of that top 8? And who was the most improved out of that bottom 8? Sorry.
Hang on, say that to me again. Sorry, the bottom 10?
Bottom 10. Who was the team that surprised you, even though they didn't make finals? Who was the team that surprised you? And who was the team that was mostly disappointing out of that entire lot?
Probably 2.
Yep.
Essendon, for the lack of the climb. I think we both had them comfortably in the 8. And Carlton with a run that I don't think many saw coming. And yes, it didn't end in great fashion on the weekend.
Yep.
But what a climb.
Yeah, great climb. And they always say it was a failure of a season. Well, you probably look at it after the last 4 weeks and what they did. Fell in a complete hole.
Absolutely.
From my perspective, the greatest failure for the year, I've actually got 2 greatest failures. One was Essendon, because we did pick them to make the 8. Your mob, Port Adelaide, massively disappointed with what they've served up.
Yep.
Prelim finalists going in, they just had to turn up.
Yeah.
And they would have won. And they didn't even do that.
Wow. When you lose the first 5 of the year, every game becomes an elimination final and it just gets on top of you.
And I really can't go past Carlton as well too. It's sort of hard for me to say that because I'd almost go with St Kilda, but both these teams, one was 8-2, and I think the other one was 7-2 going into their buys. So they were in really good positions midway through the season, and they just completely fell in holes. So yeah, it was a great reward. I'd probably say Carlton having that brand new coach. They've also got a bit of room in their salary cap, we believe, so they'll be able to pick up a few more next year as well too. So it's going to be interesting to see where things sit moving into the next year. So we'll go into the finals a little bit. We're not going to talk about it too much today because look, that's all for next week. But more importantly, J-Dog, it's about having a look over the weekend, some of the stories to come out of it, and then pretty much getting straight into what we thought of the 23 rounds and just sort of chew the fat, take some questions off the chat tonight because really we're setting ourselves up for a massive, a huge, a stupendous 2022 AFL Final Series.
Well, let's talk about it. Did we all witness the greatest game of the AFL in the context of the drama?
I thought it was absolutely it changed the 8. It absolutely changed the 8, and that was a result I don't think anybody saw coming. The way that Melbourne smashed Brisbane on Friday night, no one saw that coming to that degree, Jade. I saw Brisbane not turn up, and I saw the demolition. Well, not really, because I was at the concert at the time, so I couldn't watch it. So I had to wait until I got home and started watching at 11, finished at 1, and it was good. Obviously, you're talking about Carlton and Collingwood on the Sunday afternoon.
Yep.
Look, I will say this, J-Dog. I didn't get to watch the entire game because I had some things going on. I did watch probably the last half of the last quarter.
Yep.
And it made everything about what makes this great game exactly that. But it also shows how cruel the game can be at the same time.
It's just incredible.
It sucked for one team and it was awesome for the other. But, gee, how many times do we have to say it? It is the greatest reality television show you can watch. Sport.
Yeah.
And AFL. But how did you see it?
Well,
more importantly, how was your wife? How was Alira? Because being a massive Collingwood head, she would have been bursting at the seams watching that.
Well, when they were 24 or 27 points down in the third quarter, yada yada yada, and you just get in, you're like, there are so many headlines to write about this. Collingwood once again get away with a narrow win against a team being down third quarter. Whatever it is, they just seem to have a way of winning games. But the context was, if they lose that game, they don't finish top 4, they don't get a double chance. If Carlton was to win that game, they finish in the 8 for the first time in a while. Happy days for Carlton. But also, sad.
They just had to draw.
Sad day. But then, you also had Western Bulldogs who were relying on the result from that game. The way that final quarter played out, the way that Collingwood rallied to win that game, to save their season, to bury the Blues faithful with that one beautiful 45-degree kick, Jamie Allett running into a goal 25 metres out. It was drama. It was amazing, and I just think I was buzzing from the game. I was literally shaking from how much that game meant. So much on that game.
I ended up watching the last, like I said, I watched the last bit. And is it another case of Collingwood winning the game? And hear me when I say this, or is it another case of another club losing it? Because if you ever look at the last probably 3 or 4 weeks, Essendon should have won their game, but they didn't set themselves up correctly.
Yeah.
Melbourne should have won their game against Collingwood, didn't kick straight. And this mob on the weekend, they just expected that Mackay was going to kick a goal or Curnow was going to kick a goal. They didn't even set up. So it is ballsiness from what Collingwood did to win, but I also put a bit into the other teams left the door really wide open for them. But you can't be 4 goals up multiple times throughout the year and lose.
Correct, but also
special about this mob.
Collingwood. I know you're saying they're pissed about other teams. I just think Collingwood have won it. They've clearly won it. It's not just about they've got away with 1 or 2 here. Like, they have done this now 10 times this season. that is a Collingwood thing. It is an incredible thing they've done. They've got so much belief in their final quarter runouts.
Yep.
And the goals, you got a player that is maligned, Jack Ginnivan. He can turn it on. Jamie Elliott can turn it on. You've got the cool heads of Pendles who can calm the game down, who can take a half a breath. Let's just control the ball a little bit. Let's just play our tempo for a little bit. We need to. The way that they just manage 4 quarters is like the way that Tom Brady manages the final 2 minutes of a game. Just really controls it.
Yeah, and I agree. They've been brilliant so far this year. And here's what I'll throw out to you, J-Dog. Like, if they don't win it,
If Collingwood don't win it,
if they do a Sam Stosur straight sets,
yep.
has the year still been a massive success for them?
For Collingwood,
Yep.
yeah, they finished 14th last
based
year.
On what they've done with this stretch of games, I think it's 11 under 10 goals, 11 under 2 goals.
Yep.
Is it if they don't, even if they don't win a final, would you still say it is a success? Because I certainly would. Anyone who says, unless you win the flag, it's not a success. Well, you were 16th last year. Now you're in the top 4. You can't really knock that one on the head.
Yep. I don't know. Unless you are someone like Geelong or who are just clearly the clubhouse leader this time of the year, finishing top 4 for any club is a success. Unless you are a Brisbane who's done it multiple times now. Unless you are a Melbourne who won it last year and was just a straight sets it again. I don't know. But for Collingwood, top 4 finish after where they were, yeah, huge success. Massive.
Yeah. I am still a little bit sceptical on. So one of the questions that's come out for me is, it's come out on the chat. David Salt said, call the 2 sides will play in the grand final. I think at the moment, I'd say Geelong and Sydney. That's who I've gone over the last number of weeks. But I didn't expect this finals to sort of shape up. I think Geelong have the better side of the draw at the moment. So
I'm going to say it, Peps.
Yeah.
Cats and Tigers.
Cats and Tigers. It's going to be hard to win it from outside. Top 4. It is going to be hard to win outside the top 4. It's another week, another chance for an injury, that sort of stuff. I just think from a Collingwood perspective, it's almost like you're standing in the middle of a freeway and cars just keep missing you. All right? Eventually they'll get hit.
They did last week.
No, that was Sydney. That's different. I'm talking from the perspective of getting out of jail. You can't get out of jail that many times. You're going to get caught. My concern is that the rankings, and we have to look at a statistical. Like, it's always like, don't worry about the statistics. Finals football. There's 2 things about finals football. It's a defensive game, and it's a hard contested game. Simple as that.
Yep.
They are ranked 16th for kicks, 12th for disposals, 17th for marks, 14th for clearances.
Mm-hmm.
And from a contested possession perspective, they get smashed on that as well. Now, those are the key elements to winning finals.
Yep.
Go back and have a look. Whoever's been the more defensively strong team over the last 10 years has won the flag.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I find that's where they've got out of jail. Last week they should have been smashed by Carlton. Carlton threw it away.
Yep.
And they left the door open. If a team kicks straight and has those type of numbers against Collingwood will get smashed.
Yeah,
That's where my concern is that they get beaten up around the ball way too much. Their forward line, you can tell me it's fantastic, but if you have a gun back line against them, I'm talking about a Geelong, I'm talking about a Melbourne, I'm talking about.
Well, we're going to see it, Peps. We're going to see it in 2 weeks' time.
That's where my concern lies. To have a percentage of, I think it's about 107.
Yep.
That
107.1.
That tells a tale. You can only scrape through so many times, and is it going to catch up with them? That's my only concern, is that it could catch up with them.
Well,
and
that's
we're
what
going to
makes
find out. We are
that's
going
what
to
makes
find out.
Friday night, 2 weeks from now, a delicious prospect.
Exactly. The Melbourne-Sydney game on the Friday night is going to be awesome, Jamie. You have a look at the schedule, which I'm going to put up a little bit.
No, I haven't. I would have thought Geelong being the number 1 seed would get the Friday night, to be honest with you.
No, they'll get the Saturday game.
That is going to be this is redemption for Geelong when they lost to Collingwood in that final. But we're going to see. We're going to see the medal of Collingwood under finals pressure against the best team by a long shot.
Yep.
Right. Heartbreak for Carlton. Carlton supporters, 1 point. Do you want me to pause, Peps?
Yeah, well, if we're going to get into it, I think we might as well just do a bit of this. Hey, J-Dog, if we're going to get into it, let's go spin some magnets.
Haley off, Ellingworth on. Bloody winkers piss.
All right. Well, you were talking about Carlton. This is obviously the bad stuff. This is the stuff that just irks me. And the Carlton side of things was one of them. And I'll let you roll with this one because you've started it off.
Sure. Oh, it's just where Carlton in the 8 every round of the AFL season 2022, and you lose it in the final game of the round by 1 point. After being in a position to win any game in the last 4 weeks, you make one of those wins, you are in the season, you are in the game, you are in the finals.
Yep.
You're in the big dance. You had it against Melbourne. Melbourne, 8 points up, a minute 30 to go, and you threw it away. Melbourne go and kick 2 goals in you on a minute and a half. The game against Collingwood, once again, Peps, you said it, they were 24 points up multiple times during the game. Threw it away in the last quarter. We've seen the footage. We've seen Curnow exposed free. We've seen Mackay free. We've seen snapped kicks, missed plays, people trying to be too hungry, Cripps getting tackled and trying to be the hero of the game, where should have probably just dished the ball out. There's been 4 games where they could have just won and have blown their own chances.
Exactly right.
To lose a top 8 spot by 1 point is just, it's cruel. It is heartbreaking. Yeah.
It is heartbreaking, but the flip side of it is that they were in the position. Also, you got to remember, they only had to win one of their last 4 games.
Mm-hmm.
2 of those are in a winning position.
Yes, they were.
And who would have thought about it? 1 kick. You remember the week before? I think Owies kicked it to Saad, didn't make it on the full.
Yep.
If they'd have made it on the full, it would have milked down the clock. They would have been fine.
Yep.
It's just little. It's a game of inches. One moment, it is the butterfly effect. It is the butterfly effect. It's the pebble in the pond, my friend. It is the pebble in the pond. But as Donna Jovanovic says, karma is a bitch finishing 9th. And as a Richmond supporter, Donna, you would know quite a fair bit of that, considering that your VFL team. Guess where Richmond's VFL team finished, J-Dog?
I haven't.
9th.
Yep. Hey, look, last time Carlton finished 9th, they ended up winning a final. So who knows? Could be good on them.
Exactly. Someone could get done for danking in the next couple of days. All right, couple of other things. Crowd fights. Faux tough guys at the footy. Did you see the footage of the faux tough guys at the footy,
I did.
J-Dog?
Faux tough guys and girls.
Faux tough guys and girls. Crikey, not a full set of teeth amongst them, I reckon. There's just no excuse. It's the footy, for Christ's sake.
It's passion, Peps. It's
I know
passion.
it's passion. Hey, Red Foo said it best. He's got passion in his pants and ain't afraid to show it. But that was not sexy, and I know it. It was just disgusting. Like, it's a footy game, for Christ's sake, really.
I know, but we've all got
everywhere
our supporters who will like it.
Yeah.
We've all got supporter fan bases who will like it. Like, there's Melbourne people who'll be the same. There's definitely Richmond people.
We would be throwing bottles of Grange and cheese boards straight at your throat, J-Dog.
I come from a Port Adelaide perspective.
Supporters at Port Adelaide?
We'd be shanking, we'd be spitting, kicking and biting.
Yep. I've got to throw this one in because it's just low-hanging fruit. So is the Essendon Football Club. And we'll have a chat about them in a minute. What hasn't been said about this rabble? And I heard when their new president came out and said, we are a destination club.
Yeah.
We're a big club who play the big games.
Yep.
You're not a big club, mate. You might have 85,000 members. You're not a big club anymore. You've been irrelevant for over 20 years. You've got to get out of the Sheedy days. You've got to get out of the Baby Bombers. You've got to get over 2,000. You need to move on. And now they want to... The word is... We only go by the word, the rumour, the innuendo. They're looking at bringing James Hird in. What's the definition of insanity, Jamie?
Well, Peps, in Heard Be Trust.
Oh.
They actually delisted his son today.
Whoa, conspiracy theory. So there's no conflict of interest when he comes into coach.
Well, Silvani and his boys, so who knows?
Yeah, exactly. But Jack Silvani can play. The players, coaches, and anyone associated with clubs that gets the chop this week. We've seen a few teams already delist players. There's going to be assistant coaches who are going to be chopped. People around the clubs, they're also going to be let go. And we just wish them all the best. Hopefully they've been able to move on, get some new opportunities, whether it's at local level, whether it's at VFL level, whether it's back at an AFL club again. But
pick up some country cash.
Yeah, country cash.
Go pick up some country cash, $500 a game sort of stuff.
And the last one, J-Dog, I'm a little bit disappointed with the lack of... I know it's a bit of a political correctness time these days, the woke. But I miss Mad Monday stories. Don't you? And photos of the players. How can you miss, Fev in the middle of the city square with a dildo in his hand?
It's true.
Or the stories of the Saints setting midgets on fire. Like we need to relive those days. We need that. That's what we looked forward to, Jamie. There was round 23. There was delistings. There was Mad Monday stories led into finals. And the last one, can I also throw in this pre-finals bye? Whenever Gillen leaves, whoever comes in, get rid of it. It is a waste. It just ruins all the momentum. And it also takes away the reward of finishing top 4 and getting that week off between the first round and the preliminary final.
It does
a crock of shit.
It does give country football a chance to finish up their finals before the grand final, though.
J-Dog, mate. They did it for, 100 years before then? All right? They survived then, and then they all survive now because, all 18 clubs aren't playing. So, perfect example. Your club didn't make finals. You can go and watch as much country footy as you like. Mm-hmm. It's as simple as that. All right, I want to give out some votes because I have some that I want to share with you all.
Oh, do you?
I definitely have a bit of 3 votes for you all. All right. Big shout out. Michael Hurley and that final goal. If anyone has not seen the footage, jump on afl.com.au, get on your KO subscription. With all the crap that clubs get at times, this is an example of where the football community got together. Hurley kicks his last goal. You look at Broad. Broad actually ran off him completely into a contest he wasn't even going to impact and left him all by himself. He went back. He kicked a drop punt, Jamie. A drop punt.
It's classical.
Classic. And the fact that we knew the Essendon players would get around him. But to see just the admiration from the Richmond players, sensational. Absolutely sensational. And that's what footy's all about. You can just park the egos, park the competitiveness, and park the bullshit, what everybody cops at times. That is why this game is just so awesome because, yes, they might be rivals on the field, but dead set, they know, and they know people who are there. They know people who have been through these types of injuries as well too, and why they're retiring. Michael Hurley, you can hold your head up high, and those two clubs. That's the only time I can say over the last week that Essendon can hold their head up high because their off-field stuff is atrocious.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Ben Rutten, all class. How he finished his way up, didn't badmouth the club.
No.
Finished up, said I'll still keep going, even though he probably knew he wasn't going to get it. All class until the end, unlike his club.
Well, I think he knew because
He knew, but he just did it in a classy format.
Yeah.
That makes me go, you know what? He might be good. He might be a good assistant. Did Essendon really give him a go? 2 years. Are they too insular as a club? Are they too ancestral? Unless you're from the Essendon breed, you're not going to get a Guernsey.
Are we still in Spin the Magnets, or are we out of Spin the Magnets?
One more. And the Saints. I have to throw this one out. The Saints. I saw this last night. I think it was on Footy Classified or whatever. They went a little bit superhero at Marvel Stadium with their interchange. I don't know if you saw this. At one stage, it said the Saints sub off Clark on Kent. Clark Kent.
No.
It did.
Well done, St Kilda.
Very well done, St Kilda. They probably could have used another Superman in that last quarter because, they almost pinched that one over the Swans. I don't know if the Swans went into cruise control or the Saints actually played some blistering footy as well too. So,
Yep.
all right, big boy. You know what that means now. Well, it's not over to me. It's over to you because it's time for. It's time for Around the Grounds with Lace-Out's #1 newsbreaker, Jamie Wallis. Over to you, big fella.
You love that. I love the fact that you get a big kick out of it every week, Peps.
Every week, I love it. You deserve
Oh,
something
thanks,
on those
mate.
lines.
Thanks, mate.
I've actually got one more I need to play later on, which I forgot to mention.
Special. All right. So let's talk about very quickly. I don't want to spend a whole night on
Talk
it.
about the coaches because there's
Yeah,
three.
well, I do. So what happens now? So we know that Essendon came out last week, and obviously they must have been given a bit of a bum steer by someone. The information is not correct because they thought they could steal Clarko in the last minute, which
They're
then
idiots.
it literally put a nuclear bomb under their club. So it put Brett Rutten in an unattainable position there. He knew he was gone Saturday night after the game.
Walked. I would have gone, you know what? You're doing this. You haven't even bothered to tell me. Screw you. Find a coach for the last game.
He was crying after the game. He knew that his time was up. You obviously had
Joy, I reckon.
you had the top brass who also got walked out of the club or resigned, but not really. We know what happened there. They're now doing an external review. We're still waiting on the finding of that. They're now waiting for a coach.
Hold on, aren't they still doing their internal review?
No, the internal said they need an external. So the club is in free fall at the moment.
Bloody stupid. That's my thought on this club. They are a farce, aren't they?
Hey, look. From the ashes, maybe something can come out of it. Great, but so they've left themselves now with the position of the players are unhappy at the president. They had very stern words with him after the press conference. That was the press conference to announce they didn't get Alistair Clarkson. It was a weird press conference. I'm not gonna lie, it's weird. And then you've also got today. I don't know, Peps. I don't know. I know that you are a property mogul out there in the west of Melbourne, and you obviously grease some palms. But Dyson Heppel has put his house on the market. Now, I don't know if that means anything, because people can sell houses, but his house is on the market, Peps. So I don't know if he's now looking for a new home in the Gold Coast, or the sunny Queensland weather has been the rumour all season, or the second half of the season. So whether that's something that has been spoken with on exit interviews that are happening currently for the bottom 10 clubs. And then the coaching situation. They've said we're going to want a coach with experience.
So what does that mean? What does an experienced coach mean?
Well, I think someone not like I heard, who's now had experience. So is he experienced now? Do they want to go with a first-timer? I don't think that. I think they're saying no to a first-timer. They want someone like a Ross.
Can I throw one out there?
Yeah, you sure can.
Right. So GWS signed up Adam Kingsley, GWS coach for the next 3 years. Now,
The
his
Hulk.
apprenticeship was around about 18 years, they reckon.
Easily.
Is
Paul-
that first-time
well,
coach? Sorry, is that an older head?
Well, the way I understood it, I agree, that is, he's gone through the AFL Coaches Academy. He's gone through multiple clubs now in different positions, from line manager to more of the player side.
But in Essendon's mind, is that an older head?
I read it as a no. I think Essendon are wanting an established name.
So they want to go with a Lion,
A Simpson, a Hinkley.
Even though Koshy said no, we're not getting that. A Cameron, might have mentioned him twice. That's how good he is.
Yeah.
Buckley maybe as well.
Bucks is out. He said no.
He said it.
So, who else is there? Pike. Like, there's a few out there.
Can I ask a question, Jamie?
Sure.
Be honest with me. If you were a coach, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right now, would you go to Essendon?
No, because Unless, no, actually no, because they've got no security. Because I don't know what the off field's doing.
They're a shit show. Let's say they are a shit show.
Yep.
Off field.
Well, there's no trust in that. There's no trust at that club. It's all gone.
Here, no trust. Choco Williams. If a new coach came in and got they would say, listen, I want CEO gone. I want to pick this. I'll bring a CEO. I want the recruiter gone. There's too many people that have been there for too long. It is, and like I said, unless you are part of the Essendon mould, they don't accept you.
Yeah.
And
I think the biggest
still rely on Sheedy. He's poached another club since your mob.
Yeah.
Remember that.
And obviously they're given a bum steer. Alistair Clarkson was never going to go to Essendon. So I don't know where that information or what level of information or where it's come from within the club thinking they could get him, because I don't think that was ever going to happen.
You know what it is? It was ego. I'm telling you now, that would have all been ego. The Essendon ego. We're Essendon. Why wouldn't you come here?
So, Peps, I don't.
Yep.
Who knows? Watch this space. I think it's not going to be. It's going to be a longer burn. I reckon they're going to make a decision probably closer to. I reckon they give it 4, 5, 6 weeks before they make a decision on the coach. I reckon somewhere around grand final week or just after, just before trade season.
So trade week kicks off about 3 days after the grand final.
Yep, which isn't helpful.
Free agency kicks off.
Not helpful because you got players who are now on the move.
Yep.
Carl Amons nominated to Hawthorn. You've got players who are getting cut now. They want to know where their future lies. If there is a position to maybe jump into one of those players. No coach. There's no senior coach.
Interesting.
There's no senior coach. So if a player goes, who am I going to be playing under? Fuck,
so
I
they're
know.
going to jump into players and then play under them. Jamie, what? What sporting movies have you been watching recently? All right, hey, on top of that, Al Clarkson, he's now gone over to North.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have a smile on your face when you saw this? Like when you heard the news that he had chosen North, did you have a smile on your face?
Probably. Because it's a great story. I get it. But there is no guarantee that he's going to take you to the premiership land.
No, it's not. It's not. But what put the smile on my face was that somebody went and said, look, he's getting good coin. You know, he's not doing it for free. He ain't St. Vinny's right here. But he's gone, I'll give it a challenge. I'll give it a crack. I could go over to Essendon. He wasn't going to. But the fact he said, I did weeks of due diligence to make sure this was right. And then to pull the trigger and say, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to do it. It gives me hope. Because my club's been shit for a while. Your club's had its moments. North have been down there for a long, long time. Brisbane have had theirs. St Kilda have had theirs. Collingwood have had theirs at times. I'm just sick and tired of the smaller clubs getting kicked to the curb.
Yes.
And it's finally made them relevant again. Now, yes, there's going to be a lot of work to be done. But what that means is Jason Horne-Francis, he now knows that Clarkson is going to be coaching him.
Correct.
That would make him stay. Number 1 draft pick is going to be going to North Melbourne. Instead of going, he's now going, got to learn something under him.
Yep.
We're going to get assistant coaches that he's going to pick. It could be Hodge. It could be Lenny Hayes. It could be any of these. You know he's going to attract quality there.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to... And if you're a player there at the moment, it's like, I'm not going to be able to get away with stuff that I got away with for the last few years. I really need to pull my finger out.
Yeah.
It just gives them credibility and hope. And I know hope is a very dangerous word, but hope stands for hold on, pain ends. And for clubs, it has.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen overnight, but if you get the right... And you know what? Even free agents who never wanted to go there, who are pushing towards the end of their career, might go, you know what? I could go for money, but maybe for a little bit less. I might go to this club and maybe make a difference. Not right now, change the standards. Dyson Heppel would be awesome at North.
Yeah. I don't know. Is that taking North? Maybe a conversation for another time. But is that taking North down the wrong path that Hawthorn went down to try to chase a premiership with senior players? Then
no, he's not.
That
No,
wasn't there.
It's not doing that. What do you mean? No, it's not really chasing a flag because you remember he joined them in 2004. They were towards the bottom
Yeah.
back then.
I think
New
North.
draft picks, they got them all working together. The standards lifted, and anything can happen from then on.
It's going to be what's he signed up to? It's a 5-year minimum. Okay, so you're probably going to have some rocky years, but yeah, by year 4 and 5, you should be starting to see some consistent.
I'd almost go give it 2. I reckon I'd want to see some significant. I want to say significant. Well, I don't. Their list isn't the best. We know that.
Yeah.
I don't think it's as bad as what they've got. They've got 2 gun forwards. They've got a cracking centre half back. Their midfield's got some really good youth going through it. It's almost like having, the best components on a car, yet no steering wheel
Yeah.
at the moment, or a really shitty steering system. And no matter what you do, it's just not going to. They've replaced the steering system. Now they're going to be driven in the right direction. You've got to get that, and he'll get the off-field stuff right as well. The president, how she put that together, and it was off her own bat as well too. She contacted him and said, "Hey, let's have a chat." That's how it works. She copped it for quite a while. I don't know if the CEO's going to stay, but
Ben Mafio, yeah, he's probably gone. Yep.
he's probably gone as well too. But you're going to get you're going to get recruiters in who know their gig because they haven't got a recruiting team at the moment. So he'll bring his group in to set that club right.
Well, it's good news for North.
It's good. It is good news for North because for so long, when are they going to Tasmania? When are they not folding? But when are they going to be going somewhere else? When are they going to Queensland? They don't deserve Good Friday. I'm sick of hearing all that. It's finally nice to hear a good news story and just the excitement.
They don't deserve Good Friday.
They do deserve Good Friday, Jamie. They do.
All right, what else has got? What else on the news stuff, Peps?
We mentioned Adam Kingsley. We mentioned about Ben Rutten, so we'll move on from the coaches. AFLW kicks off this week as well too. All 18 clubs for the first time will be represented in the 7th season of the league, which is great to see.
Yep.
We know what's going to happen. The quality of the football will be kind of average for a while. We know that that's going to occur, but give it time. The established clubs will do what they normally do, and the older clubs, they'll be... The newer clubs will find it a bit of a challenge. There'll be some spanking.
Port will probably win the premiership. They will. We've got Aaron Phillips, mate. It's game over.
Okay. Yeah, you keep your sunshine. Maybe they can swap your men's team with your women's team. Might actually stand a chance. The AFL squad for the All-Australian team, which will be decided tomorrow night. The Wednesday evening was listed. Jamie, why do they have a squad of 44? Do you remember the days they just used to release the team?
Why do they have a squad at all for?
Why do they have a squad at all? What do you get? Do you get a participation medal?
Hang on, have you come onto my side of the argument now? You and I were always opposed on this discussion.
I don't understand. Why do they have to have 44 people when half of them are going to miss?
It's because you've got to name an extended list, Peps.
What? 44?
They should put that
22 pull out.
They should put that 44 against each other.
Well,
that would be worth
that's
it.
What they reckon they might do.
That would be worth it.
That's why they did 22. And who's the super sub? Like, who's the sub? They haven't even mentioned the medical. Like, there should be a medical sub. Who's been the best medical sub all year? They should get that spot.
Well, imagine debuting for that game.
Oh.
All right. So, no, I don't know, Peps. 44, way too big, way too many people. Once again, all Australian. I don't know if it means anything. I'm not going to go down that street today because I cannot be bothered talking about it. And they also released the...
What we need to take out of it is that Melbourne had 6 players in it. Carlton and Geelong had 5.
5, yep.
Collingwood had... Sydney had 4. North Melbourne had 0. Essendon had 0 as well too.
Port had 2?
Yes, you did. Port had 2.
And also the under-22...
We only had 1.
Connor Rosie. Yeah. He's also been... I mean, under-22 team has also been announced as well.
Yeah, which is good. I don't mind the under-22 team, but I just look at this and go, why do you name 44 people? It's just like it's once again participation medals. They get like a participation jacket.
Yeah. What do you get? Something from the AFL store?
Yeah, they might get a voucher.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Voucher. Box of footy cards, something like that. Right. Hey, rightio. Let's. One thing I also want to throw out there was the Rising Star nomination as well, J-Dog. Who won it for the last week. Who got the nomination for, let's be honest, the Nick Dacos medal?
Yeah. So this one went to Nathan O'Driscoll from Fremantle for the win over the Giants. He racked up 17 disposals, 4 tackles, 5 clearances, and booted 2 goals. 188-centimetre midfielder. Was recruited from Perth in the Waffle, so you probably had never seen him or heard him before. With number 27 in the 2020 NAB AFL draft.
Oh, good on him. Well done.
So
good on
he's
him.
O'Driscoll is the third Fremantle player to be nominated for the NAB Rising Star this season.
Who are the other two?
I couldn't tell you.
Well prepped. Okay. All right. Questions come through. I don't want to go into it too much because we'll leave that for a couple of weeks' time. Brownlow prediction at the moment, that's starting to come out. So who do you think is going to win the Brownlow this year? I'm going with my mate, the Ginger Ninja from the D's, Clayton Oliver.
Hard to go past Paddy Cripps, maybe. Good back end.
Bad back end. Good start to the season.
True.
Back end.
It's going to be, Clayton Oliver's
Connor Jay's
right
gone
up
the
there.
meatball. Dion Prestia.
Shy Bolton, maybe.
Yeah, they'll steal birds off each other. I don't know. Touk Miller. I would love to see maybe Touk Miller. There's just something about him I like. Connor Rosie, they reckon, is going to come home with a flood of votes in the second half of the season.
He will. One of the Deconi... Oh, no, it's a defender. Won't get that.
Defender, yeah. Only midfielders with it. You know how it works. All right. One thing I wanted to ask you, J-Dog, is...
Hey, who won the Coleman in the end? Who wrapped it up?
Charlie did.
He did get it in the end?
Charlie did, and it's been, I think it was the first time in, 30?
Because the Cats were trying hard. They were giving everything to Tommy to close that gap.
Oh, they were trying to. They said, I don't know what the actual... I think it might have been 1901, 1902. Like, this is how far back we're going. It was like maybe 101 years, where 2 players from the same club have won the Coleman, but they're 2 completely different people in 2 years. That makes sense?
Yep.
Here's another stat for you. Melbourne are the only team in 21 years to be in the top 4 for 2 years consistently. So they were in the top 4 all year last year and top 4 all year this year.
Didn't you guys...
Hasn't been done since
You didn't drop out of the 4 at all.
Pardon? No.
Well, there you go.
Not since the 2001 Essendon team has that been done.
I wish Carlton beat you last week now.
Yeah, well, they didn't. They didn't. Suck bubbles. All right. Alrighty. So, J-Dog, we've got some footies kicking in next week. Now, with the finals side of things, we're just going to have a look at the 4 games. We're going to have our chats on it as well, too. Questions that you need for us, any opinions that you need, let us know. More importantly, we've only got 4 weeks to go of the show. 4 lace outs. 4 quarters of lace out action. It's round 1 of the finals. Round 2, prelim weekend, and then it's the big dance. It's where the 2 power clubs, the Encha and the Arlada, the Tango and the Cash, the Roller Girl and Dirk Diggler get together and fight it out for the biggest prize in sports entertainment. We're not talking WrestleMania. We are talking the 2022 AFL Premiership. So we'll be starting our run to the finals next week, and that's why we are not discussing it tonight.
No, we are. We're trying very hard. We'd love to talk about it, but we know that we can't.
Exactly right.
Do you want to quickly just run through the games of the weekend? Just quickly go through them?
Yeah, that's not a bad one. One thing I want to quickly ask you, listener question. Can we throw the listener question out? Because it's come up, and I reckon we go with it unless you've already got one.
No, go for it. What is it?
Who's your Brownlow prediction?
Like it.
Why don't we throw up before the finals? Brownlow prediction, Premier, runner-up. There you go, 3 parts.
Okay.
Premier, runner-up, and Brownlow prediction.
All right.
If you want to get crazy, you can go Rising Star, but there's no point.
Quick
All right,
rip.
Brisbane lost to Melbourne on the Friday night. Got absolutely pumped by almost 10 goals.
Never looked near it.
Never looked near it. That's what I expect from Melbourne. They came out firing. Dane Zorko is a wanker. He's a flog. He's a dick. Seriously, to say that to somebody, and he doesn't even know what the condition his mum's in.
Nothing.
That's disgraceful. So Robbo broke it, so I'm not going with it. But he did say that, I hope your mum dies.
Yeah.
That's apparently what he said. and that is a disgrace. And I've spoken about it before. We miss the days of self-regulation, Jamie, because if that was the 80s, he'd be looking up at the lights, being wheeled in the back of a meat wagon, taken off the hospital.
Yeah, look, the AFL, I don't know if they're going to do much investigation. The two clubs left it as it where it was on Friday night. They both had a chat about it. AFL seems comfortable with that. But Zorko's got a history of saying some pretty inappropriate stuff on the field and whatnot. Does he deserve to lose his captaincy? I don't know. Hopefully he doesn't do this again, but he's a repeat offender. So I don't know.
He has to lose his captaincy. He's just not a captain.
Yeah.
His last few weeks, he's been playing with this false bravado. Look at me, look at me.
You could say it's the whole team. The whole team's been playing like that.
Nah, they're underachievers big time, that mob. But Melbourne were great. Good to see the forward line getting in some consistency. More importantly, their connection was a lot better. They had 26 entries and had 13 goals, I think, at one stage.
Yeah, accurate. Very good.
Yeah, that is accurate, which is good, which we don't normally see. So if they do that, backline was awesome. They're priming themselves nicely for a big, hopefully, 4 weeks of footy. GWS Fremantle. This is actually a pretty good game for quite a while.
It was tight.
It was tight. Fremantle took the chocolates and they got the home final. So
Well,
they knew what they were playing for. They got that 5th spot and they're going to be playing the doggies at home.
Yep. Under Mark McVeigh, I think it's been, or Mark McVeigh and Hurd, or whatever you want to split that pie, I think it's been a pretty solid back end-ish for Giants. There's been some games that literally looked like they just can't be bothered. This game here, they look like they're pretty up for it, which was encouraging. So
yeah. Jesse Hagan had another good week. His last month has been pretty good by the standards, especially for what he's been over the last couple of seasons. Been hitting the scoreboard and showing a lot more. So the thing with GWS is, J-Dog, they're going to lose so many players next year because of salary cap tightness for all the bullshit deals that they made.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be the ones that they should get rid of. Kelly overrated, Whitfield overrated. They're going to lose a Taranto. They're going to lose a Hopper as well too. Could be a Bruin going as well too, which is kind of crappy. Yep. After all the hoopla of last week, North fell in a complete hole against the Gold Coast as well too. This was close to 70 points.
That was a bad one. Yeah, that was not a great one. And it could have been a lot worse. The Suns kicked 18 behinds, plus a few on the out of full as well. Suns obviously have
scoring shots to 34.
Yeah, Suns have come with the news as well that Rankin's gone to Adelaide, or going to go to Adelaide, so they're going to have to deal with a trade with him. Pick 5 Adelaide have got this year, so that's going to be the starting point for the convo.
I'd be really pissed if I was Gold Coast about that. I would be pissed, but then they're going to get pick 5.
Starting, yep, it'll be their minimum.
At a minimum, they'll get some. They're gonna have 2 first rounders. I think they got pick 3. I think they swapped. I think it might have been a pick 3 last year, and so they'll have pick 3, pick 5, a couple of second rounders, and a couple of third rounders. They're in a massively good position. I wouldn't be surprised. They don't need draft picks. They need players.
A player with 4 years experience.
I wouldn't be surprised if other clubs try and maybe grab that pick 5.
Yeah, for sure.
From a draft perspective. All right. Gold Coast smashed West Coast. I did say this. I don't know if you saw the Twitter on the weekend, but Geelong in their 13-game win streak have only played 4 teams in the top 8. And 2 of those have been the Western Bulldogs that finished 13th. Finished 8th, sorry.
Yep.
They played them twice. The other one was Melbourne and Richmond. I know you can only beat who's in front of you, but is that a pretty soft run going into finals?
Yeah, but they've also rested all the players as well, so they haven't had the best team out on the park altogether now for the last 6 weeks.
Yeah.
It was a smashing. The only concern for the Cats now is Jeremy Cameron going into the finals, whether he's going to be right or not. But that was a complete smashing.
You would not risk him for the first game.
It depends where he's at. But I think I predicted on the tip for tips, I was going to be 100 plus. I wasn't too far off it, considering they had no Jeremy Cameron.
1,000.
Oh, did I say 1,000?
You weren't far. Close enough.
Inflation.
Inflation. Essendon lost to Richmond. That was a pumping. The Tigers, they're setting themselves up nicely as well too, I must admit. They're looking good. I still think Tom Lynch, and I'll say it, he's the most overrated forward.
You can't keep saying this, Peps.
Mate, I'm going to keep saying it.
What can he do? What else can he do?
He doesn't play on any. He has not played on a decent backman in the last 5 weeks.
Kicks 50 plus. Has kicked 50 plus for the last few seasons.
Jamie, I'm talking about this year. Right now, his last month, yes, he's been kicking goals, but he hasn't been playing on anybody. He hasn't
He's-
played on a decent backman. He hasn't played on anyone from Geelong. He hasn't played on from anyone from Melbourne. He hasn't played on anyone from Collingwood.
Well, that's you can't put that on
just
him.
saying, yeah, he's in good form, but I wouldn't be getting too carried away with it right now. All right? Just wait till you have to actually have someone who's going to smack you in the back of the head.
How did you see Essendon's final game? Final game for Rutten, final game for the club.
Yes. Not interested. They should have just given it as a buy.
Yep.
That should have been a buy. It literally was a buy.
I probably had more hope for the game. I wanted to see a response from Essendon this week on the fact with Rutten under fire. Not that I think that Rutten knew he was going to continue coaching after this game, but I wanted to see more of a yelp from the players, and they just didn't. They just
Who
didn't.
scares you from Essendon, players wise? Who has some mongrel in him? I think it was spoken about last night on with John O'Brien, but he's right. There's no one that scares you from that team.
No, I mean Draper can be anything. He's still
it's
young.
Also Brisbane, they mentioned that as well too. Hawthorn lost to the Western Bulldogs. This was another one of those games that was actually pretty good to watch. I know if you have a look at the scoreline, it was 17 scoring shots to 14, which is the accuracy that from the Western inaccuracy from the Western Bulldogs that didn't make this bigger than it was being. Sam Darcy, something there, my friend. You see some of the clunkers that he was taking, forward and back.
Looking good. Looking good.
Looking good. They're gonna. It doesn't matter because Aaron Norton will be at the D's next year. You wait and see, J-Dog. You wait and see.
Well, if that's
You won't be able to fit Ugle-Hagan, Darcy, Norton, Bruce, all in the same forward line.
well, the Hawks had the lead in the second quarter. This game.
Yeah, they did.
And they just fell in a hole.
But it was down in Hobart anyway. Well, they only won it in the last quarter anyway, the Doggies. So they literally scraped across by 2 goals. But they were fortunate to 2 goals, and they made it by 0.5%. Just goes to show. We've spoken about Carlton Collingwood, how awesome of a game that was. Easily, it's funny, isn't it? Carlton have probably in the last 2 weeks played the best 2 games of the season. There's been some crackers throughout the year. The Anzac Day one with Collingwood and Essendon was another one. But yeah, they've been in some crackers over the last couple of weeks too. This season has been a success. They're going to have some more room in the salary cap. They just got hit by too many injuries at the wrong time. And they're a young list. They've got plenty to work with. Another pre-season in that mob won't hurt them. And with Collingwood, I'm not too sure what's going to happen with them. Yes, they are playing finals. We'll see what they... If they go out and beat Geelong, this is the one. If they go out and beat Geelong, and not by a small margin, I want to see a decent margin.
Yeah.
And I'm saying 4 goals minimum. Then I'm like, okay, yep, there is something about this mob.
Yeah.
But if they get absolutely smacked from pillar to post and 6-7 goals this week by Geelong,
Okay.
don't tell you.
So they have to have 1 win over 4 goals, and you'll believe the hype.
I reckon if they have a win against Geelong by more than 4 goals, yes. Not a small. I don't want to hear this
Jesus.
small. No, I don't know.
You're not setting the goalpost that hard, are you?
4 goals.
Against the best team that no one get near. You guys can't get near them.
Who? Geelong.
Yeah. So does that mean that you're not as like why does that matter? 4 goals against the best team in the AFL. Clearly.
Okay. I'll wait and see it happen.
Okay.
I want to see if they don't get within. I don't reckon they'll get within 7 goals, to be honest.
This should be the question. What can we do to get Peps to believe the hype train? What do we have to do?
I believe the Geelong hype train over the Collingwood hype train.
All right, and the final game to wrap it up for the whole season.
St Kilda Sydney. So St Kilda had the destiny in their own hands. At half time,
Yeah.
there was only a couple, and they decided to go back to this defensive chip. And then as soon as they decided to turn it on, which they did in the last quarter, they got within 14 points.
Yeah. Well, it's a typical Saints game. Literally started really high, then second, third quarter was terrible, and then fourth quarter back up again.
Yeah, it's just they're in no man's land, St Kilda. They remind me of? They remind me of North. Remember when North kept finishing mid-table time and time again?
Yeah, 9 and 12.
That's where they finish. That's where I feel they're finishing at the moment as well too.
They've got some big decisions to make on senior players. Obviously, Paddy Ryder is retired.
Hanbury's gone.
Hanbury, Hill is another one.
They want to bring in DeGoey.
conversation. They want to bring him to goalie, which I think is probably not a bad thing. But
I don't think he's the right club.
yeah, we'll see.
I don't
Look,
think he's the right club. We are
Saints.
gonna see.
Saints next year. I think Saints supporters can be happy-ish. It hasn't been a bad season, but it hasn't been a great season.
Jamie, it's been a shit season. They were 8-3.
That's been a bad slide. I know, but you look at the 8-3, look at the 8 at the first half, and you're like, shit. Like we've got a club, we've got a team.
Yeah, they have. And then what happened?
Yeah.
They signed up Ratton. I don't know, Jamie. I don't know. And that is why this is simply the greatest game in the world, AFL footy. It's, look, so 10 clubs are on their end-of-season trips right now. We've got 8 to go. Next week, no tipped out this week, no tips. Why? No games here, no games. Robbo?
No games.
No games. So we'll be back next Tuesday night. It's going to be lace out. We're going to get in finals action. Get on the chat. Tell everybody. It's going to be our biggest pre-finals game show we've ever done in our 5th season. It's going to be big. It's going to be bigger than Jamie's receding hairline. That is how big that week is going to be. It's bigger than the solar panel on the back of my head. J-Dog, you're an absolute star. Listeners, everybody, you are superstars. Everybody on the chat tonight, thank you very much. Like, subscribe, tell everybody about us because this is where the magic happened. No bullshit on this podcast. We tell it how it is because it's lace out and J-Dog. It's how you want your footy. What style?
I want it a lace out.
And we want our footy lace out. Enjoy the week off. Spend some time with the family. Enjoy them because you're not going to see them for the next 4 weeks after that.
See you, everyone. Craig Jones, your shit stirrer. Just saw you tip it.
Yep. No tips for the... Just watch the game, Jamie. I mean, Craig. You send your tips through. We'll do an AFLW tipped out episode. You send them through, we'll do one. All right?
See you, listeners.
See you, listeners.